Mr. Speaker, that defence of the Conservatives is starting to crumble, because now that we have the access to information documents reveal that Elections Canada was so concerned about voter fraud, they believe the Conservative Party was, quote, running a scam. And their investigators traced the calls back to a 1-800 number that went to the Conservative Party headquarters. So now that we have a direct link between the Conservative Party and illegal voter suppression, what steps will this government take to work with Elections Canada and bring the key Conservative operatives and make them come clean?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Transport.
Mr. Speaker, we already indicated to the member and to all of Parliament that the Conservative Party is working proactively with Elections Canada to ascertain what exactly happened in Guelph. We ran a clean and ethical campaign, as we always do. By contrast, the NDP used $340,000 in illegal union money to fight the last election campaign. They managed to keep it covered up until the election was over. And despite the best efforts of the leader of the NDP, through a courageous whistleblower, that information eventually came public. Mr. Speaker, why didn't they come clean sooner?
The Honourable Member for Timmins, James Bay.
Earth to the Tory backbench, we're talking about Conservative voter fraud here. And it's funny, you know, that they've got one key operative, speaking of Guelph, they've got one key operative who's gone to ground in Kuwait, another key operative who's gone to ground in, wait for it, the office of the Minister for Labrador. I guess he didn't think he'd be able to have to deal with anything there, because he still hasn't come clean about the money that he spent in his riding election. He still hasn't explained why his ministerial budget's being blown flying around his riding. Will he at least stand up and explain what role this Guelph operative, Chris Crawford, has as his Director of Parliamentary Affairs? Will he explain that to us?
And the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Transport.
Mr. Speaker, I find it very interesting that they target the Honourable Minister. They accuse him of not jet-setting across the country enough. He spends, according to the NDP, this minister spends too much time reaching out to his constituents in Labrador. This party understands you can never spend too much time with the good people of Labrador, and that is precisely why he knows that the rural people of this country do not want a billion-dollar long gun registry. Maybe if the member spent more time in his own riding, he'd know that too.
The Honourable Member